The Joe Rogan Experience.
Which comics are not to your taste? I'm not saying that you don't like. I mean that are not to your taste. That is, whose humor just doesn't kind of work for you.
I don't know of any. I mean, not that I could think of offhand. I wouldn't pay attention. One of the things I've gotten really good at as I've gotten older is not paying any attention to things I don't like.
Yeah.
Just letting it just slide right out of my brain and onto the floor. I'm not interested.
Yeah.
It's just I spent so much time when I was younger and stupider worrying about things I don't like, being upset at things I don't like. Well, that sucks. Why do people like that? What the fuck's wrong with them? And then realize like what a gigantic waste of resources that is, and just a huge waste of energy.
Yeah.
That I don't care anymore. As long as they're not stealing material, as long as they're not doing something terrible to other comics, victimizing. As long as they're not doing that, I really don't care. As long as they're doing well, good luck.
The Zen.
Yeah, I try.
Joe
I mean,
Rogan.
it's not 100%. It's constantly a work in process. But my philosophy is rooted in some sort of a pragmatic understanding of how my own brain works.
Yeah.
Like you only have so much time and you only have so much energy. And if you're wasting your time on things that you don't like, that have nothing to do with you, if people like something, and that's how I feel about music and movies and so many things. There's so many things that I just don't like them at all. But some people do. I mean, some people I think their music is dog shit, but they'll have a full Staples Center of people rocking out. Well, I must be wrong. It's not me. It's not them. It's just like everyone's different. People have different tastes. Some people like really cheesy rom-coms. They like it. They really enjoy it. They seek comfort in this movie where it's going to work out in the end. It's going to. It's not like in the end a fucking meteor is going to land on the building and kill everybody and the screen is going to splatter with blood because their bodies explode. You're not going to see that in this movie. In this movie, everything's going to work out great. It's
like I have that feeling about Law and Order. In fact, I have no idea why anyone would ever watch that show. And one of my secret goals in life is at some point I would like to be appointed executive producer of Law and Order. And then I want to do ones that completely subvert the franchise.
Yes.
So we get you through everyone knows exactly how every one of those shows is always going to turn out.
Right.
And I want to get to minute 47 and then just go on some savage U-turn that just appalls and outrages absolutely everyone. And then I'll be done. I'm quitting and I'm walking off the set.
Shut to black.
Yeah, shut to black.
What the fuck? And don't tell anybody that Malcolm Gladwell's taken over.
No, it'd be totally I would gently push Dick Wolf aside and say, let me have this one. And we're going to completely, and we'll have it, the villain will actually be one of the prosecutors. That's what we'll do, or something along those lines.
And every episode ends like No Country for Old Men style, where it's over. You're like, what the fuck?
Exactly. What happened?
But there's a drug in those where they're comforting, and that people know that the bad guy's going to get caught and the good guy.
I don't know. This is a random thought, but I don't know any men who watch them. And I've come to the belief that they're actually for women, and they're a very comforting kind of reassuring fantasy about how the world works. That the system is. So can I tell you this is an incredibly complicated theory that I developed once about these kinds of things. We all know what a Western is.
Yes.
A Western is conceptually a world in which there is no law and order, and a man shows up and imposes personally law and order on the territory, the community, right? So there is also a Eastern. What is an Eastern? An Eastern is a place where, by contrast, is a story where hold on, I get this straight. There's 4 types. The Eastern is where there is law and order. So there are institutions of justice, but they are have been subverted by people from within. So an Eastern would be the Serpico is an Eastern. It's a crooked cop it's the bad apple who has screwed up there are tons and tons of Hollywood movies are Easterns. The Northern is the case where law and order exists and law and order is morally righteous. System works. The show Law and Order is a Northern. It's a functioning apparatus of justice, which reliably and accurately produces the correct result in confronting criminality every single day when it's on TV. The Southern is where the Southern is all John Grisham novels are Southerns. They are where the entire apparatus is corrupt and where the reformer is not an insider but an outsider. So in every John Grisham novel, they all proceed, and I love John Grisham, just to be clear, but they all proceed from the same premise, which is the system is rotten to the core, and only this white knight who comes in from the outside can save us. So in the Western, there is no system. In the Northern, there's a system, and it's fantastic. In the Eastern, the system is reformed from within. But in the Southern, the system has to be reformed from without. That's my complicated. So I feel like anything, you can place all art about law and order, about the criminal world, criminal justice, into one of these four categories. And so the Brits love the Northern. So what is, all of the famous British detective stories are always
Sherlock
Northerns.
Holmes.
Sherlock Holmes
Yeah.
is a Northern. It's like the system is like, and there's no corruption in the
Right.
police department. They may be bumbling, and Sherlock's got to help them out, but no one's off on some. There's never a case where there's a rotten cop who's selling out every.
Is there a modern version of the Western? Because Westerns all seem to take place between the time of like 1600 and 1880.
Yeah, there is. So Lee Child, do you read the Jack Reacher novels by Lee Child?
No, but I watched one of the movies.
Yeah,
the
those
Tom
are Westerns.
Cruise.
Those are Westerns. You'll never. The whole thing about a Western is can you find the police officer? I challenge you to find a police officer in a Lee Child novel. They're nowhere to be found. Reacher the hero is a retired Army investigator. He's not even in the Army anymore. And he's just roaming around the country solving crimes on his own. And he'll confront some massive criminal conspiracy, and he never calls the cops. Right? That's the whole premise. That's so Western. You can't call the cops in the classic Western because there's no cops to be found. Right? You're in Montana on the border. But Reacher, it's a 21st century Western. So he doesn't call the cops because he doesn't feel like it. It's just like they never appear. And he just murders everyone on his own, and then he gets on the train and goes to the next place. They're amazing. I love them so much.